Richard, you're a tough act to follow, so I'll do my best. And I feel like a kid who didn't do his homework over the last week. It's been a trying week with work, so I've got to rely on my notes a little bit more than I'd like to, so I apologize in advance for that. I'm Charlie Omage. Some of you know me, most of you do not. I've joined the Toastmasters about a month ago and have been coming to meetings on and off for a month. I'm 35 years old. I was born and raised in Bethpage, New York, which, if you don't know Bethpage, I guess we're famously known now as the place of the U.S. Open of Golf. We did it in 2002 and then again in 2009, so I guess that's the claim to fame for Bethpage. It's about 30 miles outside of Manhattan, New York. It was a wonderful place to grow up. I spent the majority of my life there, but picked up and moved to Atlanta in 2005 for a job opportunity, and spent 4 years in Atlanta, which is where I met my wife, Valerie, and we had our lovely daughter, Hardin, who's now 5 years old. And we brought with us to Dallas also our four-legged friend, Peyton, who's now 7 years old, and he's a yellow lab and wonderful. Like I mentioned, Valerie and I met in Atlanta. I worked at a law firm there called Balsham Bingham. I'm a real estate lawyer by day, a dad and husband by night. We moved to Mobile 4 years after our stay in Atlanta to be closer to family, and then most recently moved to Dallas about 4 months ago. I've got about 4 minutes, I understand, to talk, so I guess I've lived long enough to have a life story that exceeds 6 minutes, but I thought it made sense to basically choose one area of my life that I think applies to Toastmasters. And it's a distinct story. It's something that happened to me not too long ago, and it shows why I'm here now. About a year ago, I was asked to be part of a small group of partners at my law firm that they were going to build a business generator program about. And there were 12 of us out of about 100 partners, and most of us were junior level partners. And the point of the program was to see, well, they brought in an outside consultant, and it was to get us together. Each of us had been successful, relatively successful in generating business, but they wanted to track that, and they wanted to bring in some outside resources to help us develop our business even further. And so they brought in a company called Clear Impact. And the first meeting that we had was in Birmingham, which is where the firm was headquartered. And so I go up there, and I think to myself, well, this is going to be great. I've been relatively successful as a lawyer. I've got a real estate practice that I've built up. I'm comfortable in the setting of going with clients to dinner, talking to them on the golf course, sitting in a room, explaining who we are, what we do. So I thought, well, this will be great. We'll get a bunch of lawyers together. We'll swap stories. I can learn from them. They can learn from me, and this will be fun. So I walk into the room, and it's much like this, except it was rectangular, and there were chairs on the outside, and we're all facing each other, and there was a podium like this in the front of the room. And then there was a board on the wall that had everyone's name. And the first thing that happened was they went by the list, and they said, each of you in order will stand up and introduce yourself in front of the room. And so immediately my blood pressure went up. I didn't know any of the lawyers in the room. They had outside consultants in the room. They had firm managers in the room, so they were all experienced people. It was very intimidating. But I managed to get through that, and we all did. But the next exercise was the kicker. They said, without any warning, each of you is going to get up in front of the room. For 5 minutes, you're going to talk about what you do, who you are, and why you're different than every other lawyer in the market. And then we broke down into smaller groups, and we did the same thing, but it was, instead of a whole room of people, you're talking in front of 4 or 5 different people. But you're making a business pitch to a group. The last thing we did was literally walking up to someone, shaking their hand, introducing yourself, engaging in small conversation, but ultimately getting to a business pitch. And what I experienced was completely eye-opening. You had literally big firm lawyers who could stand in front of a courtroom, a jury, be phenomenal on their feet, literally could not walk up to someone, shake their hand, and pitch themselves without being awkward. And then there were the business lawyers on the opposite side of the spectrum, similar to me. That was very intimidated when you walk up in front of a room and you've got all these people you don't know, and you've got to speak for 5 minutes on your feet. It was something I didn't do. So in that moment, I decided to myself, while I thought I had honed my craft as a lawyer, I realized there was so much that I needed to learn from this. And so I decided in that moment I would do something about it. 5 months ago, I get a call from Encore Enterprises, which is my current employer. It's a full-service real estate development company, and they said, our in-house lawyer is retiring. We'd love for you to come work for us. And I had done their work as an outside lawyer for about 10 years. And so we took the opportunity to come here. But I was very disappointed in that I was just about to embark on that program and learn all these things about speaking on your feet, public speaking, and now I was being taken away from that. And so I went to the founder of the Clear Impact program, Michael Kalaki was his name, and I said, well, what do I do when I go to Dallas? And he said, the first thing you ought to do is find the nearest Toastmasters, join that, and get involved right away. And so that's what I did, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.